Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, September 17th, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. We continue to see bullish trending structure overall. Overall, this market continues to be quite healthy. Obviously, we have even increased in intensity here recently as this thing continues to trend higher. We are currently retesting the previous month's close and high at the moment, sitting right at the previous month's close, also still above the 2878 half key level. Again, this is the key zone here to watch for the ES and also the NQ, because if there's any rejection of prices in this area, we likely come back and take out recent lows before perhaps trying again. So it's going to be very, very important to watch to see, does price get through this zone or do we fail? Because any failure would rotate prices back down, and again, bulls would look to reestablish a better position and look to try and push this thing to higher highs. So right now, again, if price can push through these 29.25s, that opens up much more upside, and in that case, again, we're looking for the next upside target zone between 29.50 and 29.83 right now. That's the target zone from this low up to that high, somewhere in that area on this next major push. Can we do that here over the next 2 weeks, or does price struggle in this area first? So we're going to continue to watch these areas very, very closely for signs of acceptance through it or a rejection of those levels, which would open up a return to 28.50. Here's a look at the NQ. Very similar price action. Bullish trending market overall. Very good bullish trending market structure. That's exactly what you want to see. The last time, again, we were flagging down. We got a nice little squeeze again, holding in this zone, squeezed again. Obviously, we do have tariffs as a major forefront of the news cycle right now. Again, that could weigh on things a little bit, but overall, this market continues to be bullish until proven otherwise. The 74.40 level has been a big time level over the last couple of months, and it continues to hold it at the moment as support. It took a bid here and took the price to new highs for the year, and then price pushes back, defends again, and now you're seeing a bounce. So overall, this market remains bullish. Short term here, keep an eye on the monthly pivot point, because that zone right there, that level 28, 27s, that zone right there, very, very important, even the 30 level, because any pullback to that zone could provide a buying opportunity here today, and a failed new low could get this thing squeezing again to the upside. So again, this market remains bullish overall. If there's any rejection of prices up here in this area, perhaps we do come down here and take out these lows. But this market, this trend has been very orderly, very structured. There has not been many major pullbacks. There has not been any times where we've taken out a prior pivot low. So again, this market remains bullish as long as price can continue to hold the 74.40 level, and the upside target then becomes the next key zone above, which is going to be about 78 to 78.35. So that's the next major target zone above for the NQ over the next couple of weeks, if price can continue to hold above that 74.40. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Here's crude. I've mentioned before that this market is coiling up significantly. It's all happening around the 69.34 level. The next move out of this one's going to be significant. We could see a move that could be upwards of 12 handles. This is the 75s up here. This is the 63s down here. It's about 12 handles of back in here. So if we do get a breakout, say through 71s, that could open up a move as high as the 83s above. Any failure down here through, say, 66 could start to really open up some major downside as well. And so again, we could continue to see back and forth, lots of back and forth chop. I've mentioned that before, and we've seen it day over day. We've seen a big day up, then a big day down, then a big day down and up. And so again, we could continue to see that chop back and forth, which is really good for a day trading right now because of the intraday volatility and the movement we're seeing. But at some point, we will likely see expansion that gives us a more confirmed directional bias. And at that point, you could be looking to buy pullbacks in the uptrend as this thing explodes to the upside, or perhaps look to be selling if this thing breaks down. So again, I think this thing is coiling up significantly. We could see a little bit more time here building out in this range, but pretty soon we will likely see a major transition day and a breakout ahead. So keep an eye on crude oil. Let's take a look right now at gold. Gold bulls are doing just enough to keep this thing interesting, but again, gold has been so bearish. It has been very, very bearish. It has not stopped going down. Every time it holds and you see bulls coming in to defend, you know, they find a low, they defend. They're holding this 1190 zone, and the idea is to return it to value if they can just push above these recent prior highs above 1220s. It's just that bears have been defending at every turn. It's very reminiscent of what happened over here, where we had the same thing. Bulls defending, they're defending every rotation, but they can't get paid above, and so the stops come out. And so again, this is what's happened time and time and time again in this market. Every time it holds, it fails. So will it fail this time? I mean, this is the lowest lows we've seen in a long time. We got finally below the 1200 level, and that's why I mean that the bulls here are defending 1190s, and they are doing it as good as they've done it any time in the past year. It's about as well as they've done. So right now, this is a zone that continues to be bid. If you're a bull, you can get short-term rotations as high as 1215 to 1220s. But any failure to hold 1190 down the road could open up a major transition day, something like this or something like that. You know, this right here, and that could spark much more selling pressure. So at some point here, after many rotations of defending, these bulls are in, and they now either have to get paid or they're going to start to jump ship. So 1190 is going to be very important in the week ahead. So is 1220. Again, any push through that area could open up more upside as high as 1240. But again, in this bearish market here, we've seen no lift in gold. So again, continue to watch 1190, 1220 as this thing develops for the next breakout opportunity. Lastly, taking a look at Bitcoin. I haven't looked at Bitcoin here in a while. Bitcoin continues to hold around 6K. And 6K has been the area that has been bid since the very beginning of this contract. When we dropped into 6,700 as a target, we then used it as an area to look for a bullish bias and a bounce back up. The problem, as I've mentioned over and over, is the lower highs on the top end of the range. Every time bulls are defending, they're getting paid less and less and less and less and less. And eventually, that leads to a major shakeout where price will break down through those recent lows, drive down to new lows, and then find perhaps a new bounce off point. So right now this is a significant area. Again, we haven't gotten much lift. The way that it's looking right now with the tightly coiled price action suggests that we could see expansion soon, but again, even a bounce from current levels at 64.55, I wouldn't really suggest taking it much farther beyond 7K. Just returning it to 7K would be about it, because again, this has been aggressively downtrending. At some point we see major expansion. Again, failure to hold 6Ks could be significant. The next downside target would be 4,400, and really at some point this thing needs to be able to break above a prior pivot high and prove that it can start to break free from this downtrending market structure. Otherwise, I think it's headed for much more downside action if this thing can't get going pretty soon. So keep an eye on 6K for this one for a longer term move. Alright, that is it for now. Let's see how this thing starts out the week. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room.